Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's MAZZ back again with another video for you guys today. On the bench today, we have the hard body for the tent scale again. It's, I believe, part 5 of the body work to the hard body. So obviously this is not a quick process. You can make it quicker. I like to take my time on this. Do it once, do it right. That's the kind of thing you want to do. You do not want to get into a uphill battle with this thing by trying to rush it, not having it clean, spraying stuff, having fish eyes, textures, none of that stuff. You definitely need to take your time with this. I'm in no rush to get this body done. I hope y'all aren't getting tired of seeing this, but I'm trying to give it as detailed as possible because, there was a time when I needed to learn this stuff and there wasn't that much stuff on the internet in detail about it. So we've already gotten through the first 4 parts of the body work. And lastly was the high build primer to get the seam and all the body work for the bolt holes and everything done. And now, like I said, that in that video, go back and look at it. It was part 4. Go back and look. I tell you to use high build primer as a spot primer, just like you see here. We didn't primer the whole body. We just used it in the spots we needed. This is what I like to use for the all over primer. So the reason we do this first, like I said in that video, is to make sure all your body work is good. You'll be able to see by this fresh layer of primer, even high build, once you sand it, you'll see those body lines or those seams and holes and all that stuff disappear. If you don't, that means your body work is not done and you need to at least re-spot prime it again with high build primer, or you need to back up and punt, and you may need to step back to the putty phase. You may have heavier body work than what you thought and may not be able to get it out. This was what I thought was going to be a lot of body work, but the high build primer even took the whole dip out of the roof that we were showing. And I'll show that at a later time when it's in full primer. It's kind of hard to see it with it going from white to gray to white. Like I said in those videos, your hands are your best friend. So that looking at it's one thing, feeling it is another thing. Your hands are not going to lie to you. If you feel a dip, there's a dip there. So getting back to this is the primer that I like to use. And yes, it's white. I know you're used to seeing gray, but I like Duplicolor. I like their primer for an all over primer. And this is why I say they should call this a spot primer or a high build only, because like here, this says feels light scratches and sands easily. Okay, so even though it feels light scratches, that does not mean this is high build. All right, don't get that confused. This is just a sandable primer that you can get the complete base of your hard body or whatever project you're working on. You can get it completely primed and smooth with this. So today I'm really just speaking on this. I'm going to shoot this on a later video, trying to break this up into as many small steps as possible. That way, if guys want to refer back to it, they can. So like I said, use this for your all over primer once you believe all this is in perfect form. All right. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to do probably 2, maybe 3. I try to go as little as possible. Less is more when it comes to doing body work, paint, any of that stuff. The more extra product you put onto a surface, the more chance you have to screw it up. You're going to fill in your body lines and stuff like that. You don't want to do that. There's also a reason we got white. There is no reason. So usually your high build primers, or well, I say usually, all your high build primers pretty much are going to be in a gray finish. Well, we're going to end up spraying this body white anyway. And you always want to try to spray your primer as close to what your base coat will be. So base coat meaning the color that the hard body will be at the end. So the white The white is the best option for us in this. So we won't have to chase trying to cover gray with the base coat. This will cover that gray probably in, like I said, 2 to 3 light coats. This stuff tells you to shake the can, you know, your normal after the, let's see if it moves. Once you get the ball moving, it tells you to shake the can for, I believe, a minute. Yep, for a full minute. You're going to start with spraying a light coat. You're going to let that tack up. And I don't use the word dry because you don't want it dry. They're going to say allow 10 minutes to dry. You want to allow 10 minutes for it to tack up. You're trying to give that paint a tackiness that it's going to want to grab that next layer. So the next layer will do another, you know, light to medium coat. We'll then let that tack for another 10 minutes, and then we'll put on a full, you know, medium coat, and we'll let that dry. This says that it's sandable within 30 minutes. I don't like to do it that quick, especially depending on temperature, humidity, all that different stuff. I like to at least give it a couple hours. Obviously, I'm not in a rush with this. If you are in a rush, just make sure that it's dry enough to sand. You'll find out real quick if it isn't. There's no reason to rush it to try to save 30 minutes or an hour just to find out that it's not cured enough and that you're going to have to reprime the whole thing again because you just put deep sanding marks into something that wasn't cured. So, like I said, this is not a process to rush. I like this stuff because it does sand very well. And most people would say, well, why do you need to sand it? Well, every layer that you put something onto, so whether it be us starting from this bare / primer and then putting this on, we want all this bodywork as smooth as possible before this product ever touches it. Same way, we'll do this first go round of priming, and if we get back down to where we're sanding through, and it'll be kind of tough. I say it'll be kind of tough. This is bright white. This is off white. You'll see it very quickly whenever you sand through. If I have sanded through areas, that means I had a high spot. That usually, you know, anytime you get to an area that, you know, sands the primer off before it gets flat, pretty much means it's a high spot. So you'll go through and sand all those spots out. Then I may have to come back through with another coat, maybe just one coat of this. And then what I'll do with that is go with a very fine grit, and people will tell you that you need to sand it with 400 or 600 grit for it to bite. That is not true. I've done this multiple different times. I've tried it. I've buffed it. I've done everything. I've gotten high quality paint jobs out of it. I like to at least sand it up to, you know, anywhere 800 or 1,000. Hey, maybe even 1,500. It's not going to hurt anything. It's still going to bite. There's still micro scratches from that 1,500. Will it bite more to 400 or 600? Probably so. But do you need that extra bite? Will the paint fall off on 1,500? Definitely not. So, like I said, I know there's a lot of bodywork experts. I'm just going off of my experience. I like to get it as smooth as possible for every coat. Even once we get to the color stage, you'll hear me continue talking about sanding. But like I said, this was just a video wanting to explain what I like to use before I get down to it and actually apply it. So if you have any questions, comments, hit them down in the comments below. I'll make sure to answer back to you. I like to learn stuff. Tell me if you have different ways that you do it. And, you know, like always, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on. Tell me a funny joke down below. And until next time, guys, y'all have a good one.